lunchtime.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's lunch, all right.
I wonder if it's off-putting. I don't often look right into the camera.
Yeah. it's super off-putting, creeping me right the fuck out. Hey, I want to reveal a fortune that I got at Chinese over the weekend.
Okay.
This is actually about 17 years ago. I had this. The programming team I was on at Sally Mae had this tradition where we'd go every Friday to this Chinese joint, and you always get fortune cookies. Open it, and I got this fortune cookie. I got this exact fortune 17 years ago.
Yep.
And I got a little novelty frame that's like the size of like a a credit card. I framed it in and hung it in my cubicle, and I lost it since then. So I thought
it must be profound.
It is. And then this weekend I got it again, and I was like, it's got to be true. So I'm gonna see if this camera will pick it up.
It's blank.
That looks like. Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen.
It sucks. Why? Do we need reading glasses for this thing? It's your camera. My camera will pick it up.
Okay.
You know why? Because everyone agrees that I'm best. That's what it says. Everyone agrees that you are best. I mean, you get that twice in your life, and that's fucking kismet, man.
Yeah, that's confirmation. In fact, are the best. No doubt.
So there you go. I'm the best.
All right.
There you go. I feel
Thanks,
like
everybody.
See ya. We'll see you next week. Just all the latest breaking ball move news.
We know you like the show because Aaron is the best.
That's right. You can't say otherwise. It's fact. It's fact. I should take these lucky numbers and play the lottery now, because this is just so full of truth and accuracy.
Yeah.
What do we got to talk about, man? Because I'm worn out. I've been busy. I've been super busy this whole week. And we did a lot of business crap yesterday, wherein I should have been processing emails, so I had to stay up late last night and get up early today and do all that crap. So like I have done very few bits of authentic living this week.
Great. Me too. Yeah, I've been working on a project to be TBA.
Oh, yes. I know about that.
In the background, and
I know about that because I'm the best.
doing the other stuff, which is the bald move stuff. Well, I say the other stuff is bald move stuff. The project is also a bald move thing, but it's a little outside of our wheelhouse.
I'm also trying to plan.
So I haven't done much either.
I'm also trying to plan a vacation in September. Take my family someplace, because Game of Thrones destroyed our regular summer vacation. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I'm also planning on doing a solar eclipse pilgrimage down to southern Kentucky to try to get. I want to get into the totality. Last time I saw a solar eclipse, I was like 13. It went right over our hometown. You remember that too, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to get another one in like 4 or 5 years, and then the next one I'll see realistically. The next one coming to North America is going to be when I'm 69 years old.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I hope.
Nice.
I plan on being around that long. Like I'm the things I got going against me is a slight family tendency of heart disease and me being chubby.
Okay.
But I don't think I've had any family die of heart attack before 70. So I think I'm good. And I got like another 30 years of medical advances ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah. I could put maybe you think it's the medicine that'll get you there, or do you think like our astrophysics understanding might get us to an eclipse before then? You think we can do some artificial eclipsing?
Sure. Yeah, we can put an artificial moon in orbit.
I think Elon Musk is working on that right now.
Yeah, we need 30 artificial moons. No, 28 artificial moons that are spaced apart, like however many degrees radiant around the Earth, so we can get an eclipse every every week.
Or maybe just like a ring for like a full-time eclipse.
There you go.
On a section of the planet, it could be like Eclipse Park or whatever.
I mean, that would also be an answer to global warming, right? You could just have like a solar shade that just stays permanently in total. Yeah. Well, but that's the problem. You need a much larger circle to cover it. But then now you're talking about a snowball Earth. I don't know.
Yeah. You need just like a 10%.
Yeah.
shade.
You ever read Ringworld? I think
I
I've asked
haven't,
this a bunch
no.
of times, but that's one of the cool things of Ring. So the Ringworld, if you don't know, is like a half-assed version of a Dyson sphere. A Dyson sphere is where a civilization completely encloses their star with some superstructure that is kept in orbit around it, and they capture 100% of the energy from that sun. A ring is essentially just like if you took the equator of that sphere and orbited. But then you don't have a day-night cycle, so Larry Niven solved that by having like halfway between the distance of the ring world and the sun, this second smaller ring that was essentially like giant panels that were spaced. So when they rotated, you would get like this rotating day-night cycle on the ring world. I fucking loved Ringworld. That was like one of the first science fiction books I read, and it really really caught my imagination on fire. Plus, my mom come home, she sees like a spaceship on the cover. She's like, it's cool, no magic. But you know what it was loaded with? Wall-to-wall alien sex.
Really?
Tons of alien sex.
Huh.
They have like, in fact, the Ringworld, all the aliens have this like codified ritualistic sex that they engage in to like finalize deals and stuff. It's called like Rishakra or something. Yeah.
What? Okay.
11-year-old Aaron
I had no idea.
getting alien sex, but so, Mom, you should have worried less because you know what the fucking Hobbit didn't have?
Yeah,
Alien sex.
it's true.
Ringworld, tons of alien sex. That reminds me of times like I read a lot of L. Ron Hubbard back in the day
Really?
because he's a science fiction author, and he had like this and I was a voracious reader, and he had this decology called Mission Earth.
Uh-huh.
And it's insane in retrospect. And now that I know everything about Scientology, it's like it's just naked propaganda.
Yeah.
But it also has a lot of like really juvenile sex scenes, and I don't know. I like it.
The only thing I've ever consumed from that guy is Battlefield Earth.
Oh yeah.
And truly horrible.
Yeah.
Truly terrible.
All right. It's funny because I feel like I was already in a cult and I was dabbling with another one. I was really playing with fire back there because you get the double cult. Don't come back from that.
You can't. No.
Okay, so since we both have had boring ass lives, should we just get right to feedback?
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally biased. Because you think that I'm the best, of course. Going off on your Empire podcast about ads, you mentioned the trouble in getting ads is because you don't really have a show that consistently is on the air besides Bald Move TV and Bald Movies. But what about Lunch with Jim and Aaron? You post weekly and there's a large viewership. I know one of the main benefits of joining the club is free advertising or listening. But if you're able to turn ads into almost a comedy part similar to the other casts, I think would be enjoyable. What are your thoughts?
Putting what?
So essentially,
Why would we put ads in Lunch with Jim and Aaron?
it's another weekly show that we get a fairly large audience for.
But how do you?
So you just monetize the club content, which I think that's
we're already monetizing the club content because it's part of the club.
I mean, I appreciate that there's people that would willing to put up with ads in the premium content, but it seems like it's a bad way to go.
I'm totally against that.
Yeah.
No. Sorry.
What I'm saying is like I appreciate that people are generous enough to be like,
Yeah.
hey, even though we're paying for this, sure,
Right,
advertise to us.
Yeah, a lot of people say they still listen to the ad.
That's the
filled
movie theater
feeds.
model. You plunk down $15, you go and sit through 20 minutes of commercials before you get to the movies.
Yeah.
But
No, if I were to subscribe to a service such as our podcasting service, which I do, like if I were a member of Giant Bomb and they were like, hey guys, we're still gonna do ads in the content you've already paid for, I'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
No, definitely no.
right.
And I would unsubscribe immediately. So nope, that's a line too far for me.
Right. Okay. Do you have a Twitter? By the way, I know a lot of people are joining the club. We had a banner year last month.
Yeah.
Raised
Yeah,
just
so
over
hi to
30
all the new people.
Raised, yeah. I mean, we will be doing an Empire an Empire business.
This is what you get.
That's right. and here comes the ad. Drink Miller High Life. It's the best. There'll be an Empire business coming to break down the full numbers, but I just want people to know that like we made just over $30,000 in club sales last month.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
It is, yeah.
And we booked like $35,000 worth of ads. So if we can get another of those $30,000 months, and like we are back like
We're looking at the
we've
app
essentially
again.
we've essentially made up the ground we lost when we lost the Amazon money last year.
Yeah.
So we've managed to claw ourselves back into and that was the point where I feel like we I feel like we made it, and the app's on the table, and there's a bunch of other cool stuff that's gonna be coming out. Anyway, but if you are joining the club for the first time, you can participate this by going to forums.baldmove.com and posting in the VIP section. There's a lunch thread every week, and also sending stuff to #BaldLunch. All right, continue. You got a tweet, a tweet on Twitter.
On Twitter. I can't remember if I did this one last week, but Rory Tunningley asks, have you watched Ozarks on Netflix? It faintly reminds me of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul.
Yeah, no, Cecily has been watching it. I have not seen any of it yet, and she was like super high. She's like, you guys should talk about this. You guys should talk about this. And then like, I guess it might have fallen off in the later part of the season.
Uh-oh.
Or
around episode 11.
She just
seems to be the trend.
She says that like I don't know. I guess Justin Bateman's in it.
Jason
Bateman, sorry. And I have approximate knowledge of almost everything. It's one of the reasons I'm the best. But I guess there's some situations where he does his kind of like, Arrested Development routine to like stammer his way out of like, murderous thugs, and she's like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I've heard good things about Ozarks. I look forward to, when things slow down a bit, catching up on. That's one of the ones I want to at least try.
Yeah.
I also really wanted to get into Preacher season 2 because I heard the season 1 is pretty good. Although I haven't heard anything about that, so maybe season 2 sucks.
That
but
show looks crazy.
Yeah, no, it
Every
looks
time I
like
see a
super
preview,
fun.
It seems like happening.
It seems like a fun October type of thing to watch. So, but there you go. Travis from California, I got a question for you. How do you guys sleep at night? Approximately how many hours? Good quality sleep? Frequent interruptions? What kind of thread count are we talking? Etc.
I mean, it varies night by night, obviously, but in general, I get a little less than 8 hours of sleep a night, somewhere between like 6 and 7.5. And I usually don't have a lot of trouble sleeping unless it's too warm in the room, because that's my kryptonite. Like being too warm while I'm trying to sleep, I can't go to sleep.
Right.
I need it to be actually kind of cold.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I need to be under a blanket that makes me almost suffocate. And
see, I can't. I can't.
I wake
sleep.
up perfect.
If I get a blanket that's covering me, I will wake up. It's completely sweaty. It's gross. I don't like it. So I go to bed somewhere between midnight and 1 o'clock most nights, and I wake up.
Yeah.
I wake up between like 7:30 and 8:30. And then there's other times like during school season, half the week I have to wake up at like 6:45 to make sure Jack gets up and gets ready for school. Because I don't know why the fuck they're getting kids up that early and sending them to school, but whatever. And my sleep schedule varies wildly then. But yeah, I get. And the other thing I've noticed since in the last year or so is that I cannot sleep in anymore. I used to think my dad was some kind of hero because he would just like get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock on the weekends just because. And I found that like with very rare exception, I just can't sleep in anymore. It just doesn't work. So now I'm starting to think the old man, it's just biology was working for him. He's acting like he's some kind of fucking robot, and it's just that it's like you didn't train yourself. You just got old.
Yeah.
You just got old, and you started eating like a bird and not being able to sleep. So don't give me that shit. I should have known that when I stayed at my grandparents once, and I woke up at 3:30 to the sound of bacon, and I got up, and my grandma was just cooking grandpa breakfast at 3:30 in the morning because that's when they get up.
God,
that's when they got up.
Yeah, I don't do that. I go to sleep somewhere between like.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
1 and 3.
Why can we not? Why can't we not need sleep from like 16 to 30? Like that's the prime. Like yeah, like if
I mean
you're
that'd be great.
Yeah, like why is staying up all night wasted on 70-year-olds?
On 70-year-olds?
Yeah.
Is that really? That's what they do? So they go to bed late? I just assume they start going to bed earlier and earlier. Like
no, my grandma and granddad went to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and was getting up at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then that was back before they had internet. That was back before they had cable. They just waited and like grandpa. I remember a girl that's like he's like, well, it's about 5. I'll go and get the paper because the fucking corner store would open. But it's like God, it seems so boring. They'd like play spades or euchre or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's
I
no-
had
there's no
many
TV.
sleepless nights when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Up just playing on my computer, playing
Oh,
Quake.
sure. You had
or
something to
Doom
do,
or
right?
whatever. Yeah.
But they had nothing but test patterns on the television
Maybe that's,
and the
that's
dark
what I like.
of Waverly, Indiana, to keep themselves company.
Ha.
Anyway, so that's how I. So I get good sleep. I got the Casper mattress, which is awesome. I usually. I usually toss and turn about every half hour or so. I'll roll over, but I'm not aware of it. Whereas contrast to Cecily, who goes to sleep on her right side and does not move the whole fucking night.
Yeah, I'm a little like that. I can be a vampire sometimes.
I
while
don't.
asleep.
I don't see how. I don't see how you guys do, because I've always been more of a restless wanderer. But and then the sheets. I've got the shit, man. What's that bamboo company? It's not Parachute. That's what the Crooked Media guys are pitching all the
Is
time.
it Bowl and Branch? Is that the
no,
one?
it's not Bowl and Branch
Ah,
either.
Shit.
God dang it! It's like Calaflui or something.
Calaflui.
Yeah, Kalalua or something. Kalalua.
Kahlua sheets.
Kahlua sheets, but they're the spun bamboo fibers, and they are
yeah.
like, I had like really nice high quality Egyptian cotton 400 plus thread count sheets before, and I got those for Christmas like 2 years ago. That shit went out in the garbage because they're amazing. In fact, I was so pissed on the cruise because the Belize shop of the Kalalua or whatever the hell was going out of business, and everything was 50% off. So Cecily and I,
man.
all we could afford is 2 bath towels, which are the best bath towels we've ever had. But what I wish I had enough money to buy another set of those sheets, or maybe 3 sets of another 2 sets of those sheets.
I have a coconut oil pillow.
What? For real?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I bought this years and years ago. It
It
was
was just a pillow, but you just keep rubbing coconut oil in your beard. Now
Well,
it's a
yeah.
coconut oil pillow.
That's what I call it. No, I don't know. The advertisement was that it has like coconut oil, and when it was new, when I smelled it, it would smell like coconuts.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it felt like it had this oily thing, and obviously I put a like
Yeah.
pillowcase on it,
Yeah.
so you don't have to wake up with a disgusting oily face. But I don't know. It
Is it no longer
said, "Hey,
coconutty?
this is a thing." No, it's long since dead.
Huh? Did it feel oily?
It tastes. Don't ask me what it tastes like. I don't know.
If you haven't licked your pillow, I don't know what to tell you.
It felt a little bit oily when it didn't have a case on it, but when you put a pillowcase on it, it just kind of you could smell it. a
So
little
do you
bit.
need to like? Is it like a fucking thing of baking soda in your fridge? You got to replace it every 18 to 24 months. Or
I've never looked up like the maintenance and care of a coconut oil pillow.
maybe you just need to
Maybe
get
I
some
should.
more coconut oil.
Yeah.
Do you have another twit?
Yeah, Kevin Ricotta says, "Hey Jim, just bought my Mini a couple months back, 2017 hardtop. I love it." And he's got a cool blue one here. Yeah, I'm loving mine.
Yeah,
It's,
it's really
it's
peppy.
nice.
You took me for a spin the other day, and it's got some push your ass back into seat power.
Yeah, from a 3-cylinder engine with a
Mhm.
turbo.
Mhm.
I didn't expect much, but when I test drove it, I was like, wow, this thing is pretty cool.
It's some weird. The things I don't understand is the weird styling. Like they got these row of like World War II bomber switches everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have these like, I describe them as banana clip curls that are on flanking both sides, and I'm like, what is that for?
Yeah, to separate the switches, I guess. So it's
But they're already separated. They're literally sticks.
So in a cockpit, I could see like, okay, turbulence, you're bouncing around, you're dogfighting.
It's
Maybe
just-
you want some. Well, if you're in a dogfight,
Tom Hardy. That's what it looked like in Dunkirk, man.
I think maybe your hands shake a little bit. You might want some divider there. In the Mini, I don't know how aggressively some people drive, but I'm not driving aggressively enough to get the shakes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried that the car behind me is going to shoot me off the road.
You should. This is the mean streets of Cincinnati.
So yeah, it seems to just be a style thing. I don't know.
All right. Are you ready to hear a story from one of the from our moderator team,
Yeah,
D,
definitely.
from Australia? Right. So I live in a small miner's cottage with an adjoining wall into the house next door. The neighbors are a young guy, about 20-ish, and his, I presume, sister, who is about 14 or 15 and in high school. I've never spoken to them, and they've only been here a couple of months. The other day, at about 4:30 in the afternoon, their smoke alarm starts going off. Still going after 5 minutes, and my daughter says she's sure the girl is home as she saw her go in. I figure maybe she doesn't know how to stop it, so I go and knock on the door and get no answer. I can smell burning food of some kind. I go home, and a few minutes later, I go back and knock again. Still no answer. I ring the switchboard number for the local fire service. I have no idea what to do. A, the sound is bloody, annoying, and piercing, and B, I'm worried that if someone is burning enough to start a fire in my house, the starting a fire in the house that I'm adjoined to. No answer at the fire service.
What?
For about 50, this is the lawless land of Australia.
It's true.
It's like, I imagine, like, their fire trucks have, like, human skulls and, like, maybe a blood boy or two mounted to the front. For about 15 minutes, I go back and forth, knocking and calling the switchboard with no luck. By this time, I'm worried that if the girl is home, she has conked her head on the kitchen bench and knocked herself out or something, so finally I call emergency services. I explain to the fire guy what's happening, and I'm not entirely sure it is an emergency, but he says no worries, he'll send someone to have a look. 2 minutes later, a great dirty fire truck with sirens blaring rocks up, and then the girl comes to the door. God knows why she didn't answer. She says she's fine, but she doesn't know how to switch off the alarm. I tell her I'm glad she's okay and leave her with the fires. Or the fireys?
Fireys?
The Fry Guys, I think. It's the Fry Guys. They're from McDonald's. To sort out the alarm for her. Then all night, my 19-year-old daughter was pissy with me because she said I overreacted. My question to you, Jim and Aaron, do you agree with her? And what would you have done in this situation?
No, I don't agree with her. That woman could have been on the floor,
right,
surrounded by flames. I totally think you did the right thing.
Yeah, no. I honestly, my first thought is I might have tried kicking the door in. Because, like, there's a scene in Rick and Morty, like, when they're on a purge planet and they're trying to save this girl from the purge, and, like, Rick is, like, shooting dudes with his ray pistol. And, like, 15 seconds into it, he's like, Morty, do you want to try this? Like, it's super fun. I'm just murdering all these people, and I'm totally justified because I'm saving this girl. And I'm like, I feel like I've always wondered, like, how hard it would be to kick down a door, and I'm like a big guy, and I bet I could just like fucking splinter this shit, and that would be cool. And if someone, like, you know, it's like, of course I kicked in the door, this thing's gone, I banged on, no one come to the door. I thought the person, like, you know, my insurance would pay for it probably. But no, I think, yeah, right on. Like, fire's not something you fuck with, man.
Yeah, and it can spread fast, and especially if you're adjoined to the building.
Right.
Christ, I don't want my house going up because somebody cooks their bacon too long.
I mean, I don't know how you guys roll in Australia, but the only slight criticism I'd make is maybe go make a point to meet your neighbors.
Okay.
I try to do that.
I hate doing that.
I feel like I make it a point when I first move into places, I go around and, like, at least 2 neighbors deep and, like, say hello and introduce myself and blah blah blah, because I just feel like and it seems I've never had a bad situation. Or if I did, it's because a neighbor's a nightmare anyway, and, you know, well, I might as well find out now than later. So, I don't know, like, say hi to your neighbors. Maybe they would have come to the door if you weren't the crazy lady who's just hiding for 3 months next door without saying hi.
You know, if you really want to indulge your fantasy in kicking in doors, you own several doors, my friend.
But, I mean, I don't want to be the lunatic that just kicks down a door because,
kicks
like,
in his own door?
That's like, I could probably shoot a homeless guy if I want to know what it's like to kill somebody.
But you don't
I'd
own
much
any
rather
homeless
wait till
guys.
someone's attack. Not that you know.
Well, that's fair. I don't know everything about you.
I mean, that's because, like, I remember back when I was like 16, my dad did demolition on half of our house. And holy shit,
like
was
fun.
it fun to just, like, find out where the studs are and just punch through like 2 layers of drywall and just tear it down with your bare hands and take a wrecking bar and just fuck shit up.
Take
It's
a
so much fun to
sledgehammer
destroy
and
things.
Beat a kitchen cabinet to death.
Yeah, same thing like when we go to my granddad's farm. Like, I always look forward to, like, when my granddad gets a new piece of junk that he's throwing down in his junk pit, because he's essentially operating his own illegal landfill down there.
What the hell?
He's got a backhoe, and it's like he's not
junk
gonna pay someone $50 to haul away a fucking washing machine. He's gonna bury it down on the farm. God damn it.
Wow.
But it's super fun to, like, take a piece of you know, appliance or furniture or vehicle and just blow the shit out of it with guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, it's like gives you that taste of lawlessness without the cops actually showing up. So yeah, next time, say hello to your neighbors. Kick in the door, be a fucking a hero, an Australian hero.
Not necessarily in that order.
In that order, right. Do you have a Twitter?
I do. Let's see. Bias Files asks, I know about your past with Jehovah's Witnesses, but was there anything from church or services that you guys liked or even miss?
Yeah.
It's tough for me to separate, like, this is just being a child from this is the religion.
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of the stuff that I miss is just getting to hang out so much with my friends.
Right.
Because, you know, I mean, the church kind of brings you together and you spend a lot of time with them. But I think that's just being a kid anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's regardless of the religion, like, you just spend more time with your friends doing stuff as opposed to working and doing all the crap you got to do as an adult.
I do think that a good part of my speaking ability and my comfort in front of audiences is because of the Kingdom Ministry School.
Yeah.
Which is something that you join when you're about 5 or 6, and you start like our congregation had about 150 to 200 people in it. So on Thursday nights, you would get, like, when you were a kid, you'd get assigned a Bible verse to read in front of those people, and it was terrifying. You know, it was like public speaking is scary. But you just do that, and as you get older, you progress to, like, okay, now instead of, like, 16 random verses or 16 verses in the Bible to read, you actually assigned, like, a theme with 3 scriptures and that's all you get. It's like, you know, how to live a happy family life, and here's these 3 scriptures, and you have to write a talk about that. It's like 5 minutes long, and then when you get a little bit older, you graduate to, like, 10-minute parts, and then if you become, like, a ministerial servant, and then elders, you start giving 45-minute to hour-long parts, and then they might, if you're really good at that, they use you at the big conventions where now you're speaking in front of, like, 10,000 people. So, like, I thought that's kind of cool. I've heard that they discontinued that, though. So, like, that was one of the big, like, personal benefits that I got from being in the cult, and I like that. But
How
do
did
you
they
mean?
discontinue that?
They stopped doing it.
That's like an integral part
I'm
to your
telling you,
education as a witness.
You would be freaked out to know what, like, the contemporary Jehovah's Witnesses
It sounds like they got
services are.
soft.
It's
Sounds like
all,
it's
all like
mushy...
watching television shows. And
Oh my
They got
God.
iPads and shit instead of watchtowers.
I might still be doing it if that was the case.
Right.
We should do a podcast.
I remember I got yelled at in like convention in the late 90s, early 2000s for taking notes at the Palm Pilot.
What?
I was taking notes at the Palm Pilot. It wasn't even connected to the internet. And it's just like, oh, that's distracting people around you. Like,
They need to get
fuck
used
you,
to it.
brother. Yeah.
We should do a podcast on a JW.org show.
I'm down. We live watch a JW.org show. I'm down.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a couple of them enough to know that, like, it would be a howler.
Yeah, that'd
but
be interesting.
That's about it. I mean, I remember a lot of times, like, going out in quote-unquote field service, like, during the summer, the winter, and, like, you know, someone, like, the best part would, like, when the adults would get on a call that was taking forever.
Like a 2-hour call.
And us kids are in the car just talking Star Wars and shit, you know.
Yeah, playing games, doing whatever.
That was super fun. So, yeah, there you go. Let us scroll.
How do they prepare kids for the ministry work now if they're not doing public speaking?
They've gone back to the you remember, like, they used to teach us that witnesses back in the day used to show up the doors with, like, a phonograph, and they'd crank it up and just play the sermon.
They just have an iPad that you watch?
Yes.
Get
they have
the
a
fuck outta
30-minute
here.
thing where they say, hey, I'd like to show you a Bible-based message, hit them with the thing, and then offer them the literature. It's, like, so fucking bizarre.
Oh my God!
Like,
I
like, if I wasn't
I'm
an apostate
speechless.
now, that shit might have turned me over the edge.
Wow.
All this soft bullshit. And they do the literature carts now, too, where they just post up on a sidewalk with, like, a cart full of literature and just stand there until someone comes up and says something to them.
Okay.
Crazy.
What
I would
the hell?
love that, because I'd volunteer for that dude. I'd have, like, a little earbud, listen to podcasts, just sit there and not talk to anybody all day.
Yep. And
Yeah.
count your hours.
Yep. Yep.
I'm a special pioneer. I talk to nobody.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, fucking North America has a negative growth rate for Jehovah's Witnesses. So
And you
it's
wonder
like-
why.
So it's like we're spending hundreds of millions of hours out in the ministry work and getting nothing for return. So might as well, like, do even less.
I suppose so.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through. Oh, there's just a spirited debate about D and doing the right thing.
There is?
I'm scrolling. No, I mean, everyone's just basically saying she did the right thing.
Oh, yeah, she did.
oh.
What do 19-year-olds know? Come on.
Nothing. They're like Jon Snow's. Darwin Fishi. What are your thoughts on a recent schism with Bitcoin? Do you have any Bitcoin, and are you thinking about picking up any Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin Cash, yeah.
What the hell is the Bitcoin Cash?
I don't know the details, but it's a branch of Bitcoin that just split off like a week or two ago. It's very recent.
Why did it split?
I think they're preparing it for like better official shit, whatever, to become like an actual cryptocurrency.
Is it tied to the value of Bitcoin, or is it because I here's my relationship with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was about a dime for a Bitcoin, I thought, self, you should buy a couple thousand of these. When Bitcoin then became worth a dollar, I said, self, you should buy a couple thousand of these, and I did not. When Bitcoins jumped up to about $100, me and Jim are living
you can't
together,
buy 1,000 of these,
and I'm like, you know what? We should. I said, dude, let's go in and buy with a shit ton of these, as many as we can. So we started buying a Bitcoin or two every month. We ended up getting 30,
like 20, I think. Yeah.
And when it got up to like $1,200, and we're like, whoa! But then it crashed right back down to like, and I think we sold out when it was like 600.
Yeah, we made a little bit of money, but
we did, and honestly, that was one of the things that really helped year one of Bald Move, because
that's
I was
why we sold.
So fucking broke, and that helped out a lot. But now it's like Bitcoin's like they're like worth $2,000, and I kept on thinking like, what if I had bought several thousand of those when they're 10 cents and just held on to them?
You'd be a millionaire.
Several times over.
Yeah, that's funny because I actually went out and bought a whole bunch of like 1,000 of each of these super cheap cryptocurrencies.
The ones that are worth like this, essentially
right
like penny stocks.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like less than a cent each or something, and I bought a whole bunch of each of those. So if any of those takes off, yeah, I'll be in a situation. I'm just gonna sit on them.
Right.
Like I do not care about the $50 that I spent to get those. If it turns into $1 million, boom, I'll sell it. But if it turns into 600, I don't care.
Right. Do you have a Twitter?
Yep. Journey's Pennyford says, do you seek out leaked TV shows before the release date? Do you also imagine the cyber thieves wearing Nixon and Kennedy masks? Talking about the Game of Thrones leak that happened.
And a Point Break.
Yes.
I'm seeing him now as Austin Powers mask, though, after Baby Driver.
Yeah.
They're all wearing
Mike Myers
masks. Right. This is Michael. This is Michael Myers. I don't know what totally. As a podcaster, I would never like just steal it and not reimburse the company, but I own several different ways to access HBO, and if a leaked episode, but if the whole season of Game of Thrones leaked, I would try to figure out a way to treat those like screeners. I wouldn't want to watch them all in one shot. I would try to watch them and get our podcast recorded, like especially our instant takes and the main part of our podcast, and then all we had to do is each week process the feedback and put them on there. But the key thing is, like, that's the thing that, we talked about with screeners, is if you don't do them right, you really get a disconnect between the community discussion and the water cooler discussion, and since we are a fan first podcast, like, we have to be very careful about how we do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a moral or ethical issue to download a leaked I think it's a super bummer. The leak shit is a bummer because it fucking fragments the community. But I don't think it's an ethical or moral issue so long as you're actually reimbursing the artist for their time producing the content at somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not the one who like stole it and leaked it,
right?
I'm cool with watching it. It's out there, whatever.
Right. I don't even go so far as like, I think that like young people or people that for whatever reason don't have the disposable income to partake in some of this stuff. I think you have. I never had a problem with pirating and ripping off shit that I couldn't afford.
Yeah.
Because it's art and it kind of wants to be free. I think that where you turn the corner to being kind of an asshole is when you have the disposable income and you just choose not to. But you want to enjoy the stuff anyway. I've got several adult friends, and we get in fights about this all the time. Like, you can't afford a subscription to HBO Go. Why are you fucking downloading all of Game of Thrones and watching it? Like, if literally everyone did that, nothing, Game of Thrones wouldn't be able to be produced.
Also, at this point, you're sacrificing your time. It's not more convenient to pirate anymore. It's just not.
Right.
Like,
no,
I
sure.
can go to my PS4
mean, that's-
and I can get on a service that has it all lined up for me.
And I remember being on Slashdot 15 years ago. Well, if they fucking made it to where I could download it for $2,
Yeah.
I just fucking would. No,
Now
you
they
wouldn't.
did.
No, you wouldn't. You goddamn liars. You're a bunch of cheapskates.
Because you're not doing it and they've already done it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like they've essentially taken all the arguments away from
Yeah.
like ethical piracy. But like if you can't afford it, then go nuts. Like if you're like it's the equivalent of a kid standing on a peach crate to peer over the fence to see the Cubs play.
Right.
Like you're not stealing a ticket from the Cubs because you would never buy a ticket anyway.
Right.
Like it's the same reason like Adobe doesn't really give a shit about people pirate like kids pirate, and they give crazy discounts to high schoolers in college because they know that if they get you hooked young, then you'll be a consumer when you can actually afford the money. That what fucks up their models if you don't make that transition.
Yeah.
So there's my high horse that I'll get off of now.
I'm a little mistrusting or distrusting of leaks sometimes because, like, if I were one of these media companies,
Yeah.
what I would do is I would create a fake leak, and I would get like a brand new show, like season 1 show.
Yeah.
I would go, oh shit, the pirates got it,
Uh-huh.
and here's like episode 1 through 3. Look for more this fall or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like create that artificial
Buzz.
buzz around it. Yeah. And then that way, so you make the first few episodes really good, and then people are hooked, and they're like, oh shit, well there's no more leaked stuff.
Right.
Now they might go sign up for your I don't know, CBS All Access or whatever.
Right. What is the flaw in that? Because I thought you were going to like at the canary in the coal mine. Because like I was talking
Well, you could
to
also do that, yeah. Like put out a really bad episode, but why?
Right.
Then people are gonna be like, this show is shit.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I was talking to Kim Renfro about this yesterday. She'll be on the podcast later, and she mentioned that the source of this leaks are not like professional critics or whatever, because they've stopped the profession. They've stopped giving advanced screeners for Game of Thrones to the critics.
Yeah.
It's almost invariably, from the Portugal HBO office, and they're doing translations for the subtitles and stuff. It's always, or it's from Korea or something. It's not even so.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's a bummer. Also, if you want to hear me talk for like 15 minutes about leaks and why I think they suck, I joined the Nattercast this week at nattercast.com and did a segment with them at the top of their episodes. You can check that out too.
Cool.
Josh DeBlack from Atlanta. According to the Rocket City Nerd Con website, Bald Move will be returning, and he plans on making an announcement during your Game of Thrones coverage. Yeah, we should get around to doing that.
Make an announcement? Yeah.
I mean,
Probably should.
We while the sale was going on, we tried to hype that, but I think starting next week. In fact, I'm gonna add it to my housekeeping notes to give that a shout out.
Yeah, it's so far away still,
Kinda,
in
sorta, yeah.
November.
Yeah. Is it November? Wait, no.
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. It's November 2nd. But yeah, we do need to, because that's our definitely our biggest audience. Your turn.
Murder Bear says, Jim mentioned before Con of Thrones, his girlfriend would be selling Dragon Egg cupcakes. Maybe I missed them, but any plans on selling? So that was when we thought we were going to have a booth there
Yeah.
to sell like Bald Move merch, and she was going to kind of have like 50,
bake sale.
75 cupcakes. Yeah. But we didn't get a booth, so that didn't happen. And I don't think you can sell. Can you sell cupcakes online that are like homemade? They'll go bad before they get
You
anywhere.
could. You'd have to get a lot of logistics out of the way.
Yeah.
Dry ice packages and all that shit.
Yeah, I don't think she's interested in doing that. But maybe at one of these cons, if we have a booth and she's able to attend, might do that.
Shum from Utah. I know we're a couple weeks out, but Aaron never got around to his usual Destiny talk. What do you think of the Destiny beta, and how excited are you for Destiny 2? Ooh, interesting question. So I was a little disappointed in the beta because it was just so little content. It was one story mission, one strike, and 2 deathmatch modes with 2 maps. And the other thing about it, because I in the first Destiny beta, apparently you could play like completely through the Earth campaign. You could do everything you could on Earth, and there was like multiple strikes, multiple story missions, and all the death and was open. And one of the criticisms when Destiny came out is like, well, shit, 25, a quarter of the game was in the demo. So now, like, it seems like Bungie, since they're a lot more confident in their technology, they were just doing this to test out the network issues. But my biggest fear, because here's why Destiny's fun to me, and this is why, like, even though there's little content compared to how many hours you put into it, it's fun because you've got 3 phases. You've got the actual challenge phase. When you first start playing, you're underleveled and you're barely surviving, and you're like cowering behind rocks to try to regenerate your health, and your weapons suck, and you're just like trying to survive so you can get the gear to get to the next stage, which is mastery. Mastery is the level where you are now appropriately geared for the content, and you are like getting the rhythms down with your fire team, and you're getting all the mechanics worked out, and it becomes fun to become a finely tuned machine to destroy this in-game content, which then leads to the third phase, which is my personal favorite, which is the power fantasy, where you've just like, you're over leveled, you've got all this exotic armor that's working together that supercharge your special abilities, and you just really feel like this wrathful god that's just going to fucking throw all these aliens off of Earth and take back the solar system that's rightfully ours. And it's so much fun to play with the different mechanics and different characters to get different levels of, like, you know, what it means to be the power fantasy of a warlock is different than it is to be the power fantasy of a defender titan, for example. And then you also got the multiplayer, like, you know, battling each other. That's fun too. And the beta, like, I don't know why, but they had our abilities like on a trickle charge. Like in a map of control, like a game of Control, I got my super once in the last minute of a match, and everyone got it at the same time. So it's stupid. Like, you got 4 guardians running around with their supers bashing each other's brains out, and it's like there's no strategy about like when I should pop it and when is. And during the content, like, the guns were so pathetic and puny that I didn't find it fun. Like, if I got stuck, like when me and my son were playing and we got stuck with a rando that sucked, it like took us 45, 50 minutes to get through a strike. It was brutal. But I don't know if that's a fair representation of the game itself.
I was going to say, is that because you are so leveled up in Destiny 1?
And
how
I know
do you
that
go back to the
strike
shooters?
especially, we're like 5 levels under what we should be. But I also got scared because Bungie's like, well, we're now giving his armor that has intrinsic perks to it that can speed up and slow down different. You can, like, you know, maximize your guardian to be the fastest it can be, or you can maximize to have special abilities charge up faster. But I got, like, for example, I got my warlock to where I had all speed gear, and it was still so much fucking slower than the original Destiny. Like, the character's movement was slower. I felt like I was going through molasses, and it's just, I don't know, it's weird to like only have a grenade every 90 seconds or so. That's felt like very, like, I mean, my Void Warlock can throw a grenade like every 5 seconds as long as I keep killing with it, and it was just, I mean, the reason I like Destiny is because of the power fantasy. Like, I just love going in there for 50. That's one reason why I played it so much, because like I could go in there for 15 to 20 minutes, kick ass, get rewards, and feel good. Like, it's, you know, it felt good to blow heads off aliens. But I don't know, I feel like that they might have dialed down the fun and maybe weighted it more towards PvP instead of PvE, which is something that's been a long time complaint, that like people that don't care about PvP, it's like, why can I not hold, like, why can I only hold 11 rounds of my sniper rifle just because it's fucking up PvP? Like, I shoot 2 clips at a boss, and then I'm just stuck with my sidearm. I'm shooting him. Like, what? This doesn't make any damn sense. Just because it's OP, and so like I don't know why they continue to stubbornly resist balancing the 2 environments differently.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just make it to where you pick up less ammo in PvP? Or I don't know. So I'm not as excited. And also the other thing is, like, when the Age of Triumph came out, I was all excited to get my T-shirt and to get all my achievements and all this stuff. And like at some point, like in the first 2 or 3 weeks, I realized, Jesus Christ, I've been playing the same shit for 2.5 years now, and I'm done. I just don't, like, I got like all the exotic weapons I wanted to out of the patch, and I was just done. So I'm hoping. Yeah. I'm hoping that doesn't really it doesn't fuck up my enjoyment for Destiny 2. The other thing is, like, the only new super that I thought the Sentinel Titan was cool. I was very underwhelmed by the Dawnbringer Warlock or whatever, and Arcstrider Hunter. Their supers I thought were not nearly as cool as the equivalent year one, the equivalent Destiny 1 classes. So I'm a little worried. Chum. Little worried. Also, I'm not liking the community being fragmented between console and PC, because it just, every other community I've seen devolves into like the fucking console serfs and the PC master race, and I'm already seeing that in the beta, and the fucking the PC beta hasn't even released yet.
Yeah, there's just no way to blend the two.
You can, and that's the thing. It's just like my rant on Battleground. Like, fine. Like, I will freely admit that keyboard and mouse is better than console. No, the best console will probably lose to a mediocre PC player.
Right.
I don't really care to hear that every fucking thread that I read on Reddit. It's Destiny subreddit. Like, I really don't. Like, it's corrosive and to the community. It's bullshit. So I don't know. It might be less fun. You got another tweet?
Yeah. Jennifer Rodriguez wants to know, did I hear you say there are new Personal Arrogance podcasts? Will it be on the Bald Move Network? Been working through the old ones. Love them. There's one new episode. I don't think it's going to be like a regular thing. I think
it seems like
Eric
the boys
and
just
Jesse,
did it for fun. Yeah. They didn't even tell us about it.
No, and it's not even on our website. You got to go to personalarrogance.podbean.com to get it.
Which is part of the joke if you hear the podcast.
Yeah.
Adobo.
It's good though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I wish. I mean, in a perfect world for me, they would have never stopped doing that, because that was one of the podcasts that I just really liked. I mean,
yep.
The reason we became friends is because we liked their podcasts and did a fake war with them. So it's a bummer that they don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Adobo 1148. Your best impression of each other. Go. I just feel. Here's the thing.
Destiny. Destiny. I don't know, man. I don't know how to do your voice.
Just that's the thing. Like, you sound like
Destiny is interesting.
You sound like a regular dude to me.
Right.
So how do you do a regular dude?
Yeah, there's nothing like super distinctive.
Like,
about your voice.
I feel like my go-to would be like a black comic from the '90s doing a white guy affect. Like, that's not right either.
Destiny Martinez.
Yeah, just
I don't know.
Just mix up your syllables, mispronounce things. What's your trademark?
I don't know how.
I mean, you love saying shit show. Everything from stubbing your toe to the studio being on fire is a shit show. Mm-hmm. That's the scale. It's like things are fine or shit show. But I don't know how to wrap that up into a comprehensive imitation of you.
Yeah.
So sorry, we let you down. Don't ever think too highly of your heroes. They'll eventually disappoint you. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's. I always think that's funny, because when I go out to the East Coast or I go down to Texas, people always say you have a funny accent. I'm like, I feel like I have a little bit more of a twang, but I speak fairly regionally accentless Midwestern shit. You know, like, I don't feel like I have, like, you know. And I go to Boston and these guys are telling me I have an accent.
Right.
So yeah, how do you do a generic Midwestern accent? I don't know, because it's not even Fargo. It's just like there's in central Indiana and like Illinois, and there's other, like, in Nebraska, or not Nebraska, but like Dakotas, or they kind of have this, like, that's as closest to a neutral American accent you can have. So, like, what do you got to work with? Y'all.
I don't know.
Y'all. It's your turn.
It is?
Yeah.
Steven says, I noticed a lot of Braveheart references in your shows. What is your relationship to the film? Big fans? Yeah, I like Braveheart. I think Braveheart is a cool movie.
It was the second rated R movie I saw in a theater, and it shattered me, because I'd never seen, like, I would think I was 17, and I'd never seen a movie where the good guy loses. And especially loses so hard. Like, I did not feel good about coming out of that movie. But it's funny because, like, it was cool because it kind of blew my mind, and I thought a lot about it. You know, Mel Gibson's an interesting guy. He's a very complicated, controversial guy. His historical accuracy is shit. But yeah, it's a big creative milestone in my life. Mm-hmm. Noel from Dallas, Texas. When doing yard work, which comes first, trimming, edging, or mowing? It's a recurrent argument I have with my friends. I always trim first. Do you have an opinion?
I always mow first, but I don't know.
I feel like everyone that trims first trims way more than you have to.
That's my philosophy. Yeah, is
Yeah.
I'm gonna mow everything the mower can get to, and then I'm just gonna use a trimmer for the stuff I can't reach.
Exactly. So it's like I don't think it's a wrong or right. I just think that you're by doing it that way, you're doing a hell of a lot more work than if you just mowed and then trimmed the stuff that still sticks out.
Yeah. Also, I don't have like palatial grounds to manage, so
Right.
like I'm not doing edging. Sorry.
That's the things like I used to think edging is so stupid.
It's not, but
my neighbor edges
Yeah.
and my sidewalk looks like fucking shit
Yeah.
if I don't.
That's
and now I'm
tough.
edging.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to see whether my edging is going to influence, like, is it going to down?
Yeah.
Is it going to go down? Is all of Palmetto Street going to be edged now because of this one asshole that's like super uptight about his sidewalk edging? I don't know.
You need to take the game to the next level, though.
Yeah.
You need to figure out what's beyond edging. Like, do some really stellar landscaping out
Sure.
there and see if you can.
I'm going to have
Get your
a
neighbor.
scale model of the Babylonian hanging gardens out there. Your move. Your move, Trent.
Just leave a little sign on his door. Yeah.
All right, it's your turn again.
It's gonna be like shit. What's that Christmas movie where the neighbors are competing? There are probably like 50 of them. but
Yeah.
I can't
Well, I
think of
mean,
it right now.
the Last Action Christmas Hero, right?
Yes, I think.
No, it's one. It's Jingle All the Way. That was like this whole neighborhood is in a competition about, and family Christmas vacation.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? Chevy Chase.
I don't know what my neighbors think about Christmas, but we have got plans, baby.
Oh,
we
shit.
are going to do some next level shit this year, and I don't know what the neighbor is going to think. I hope we have a fun Christmassy neighborhood, but
You
we'll
need
see.
to Get a lot of your move signs ready. Let's see. WC and me asked how the Game of Thrones club sale went. Went really well. We talked about it.
Three
Briefly.
times. We did three. So we did about 3.4 times the traffic in July as we did in June, and that's with Game of Thrones only being the last week and a half of July.
Yeah, as
And-
far as new members, our biggest month used to be like 260 or something,
Mm-hmm.
and last month, the funny thing is the Game of Thrones plan, because we
Mm-hmm.
set it all up on a separate plan, became the #1 plan last month.
And just, from the
overall
19th to
signups.
the whatever,
Yeah.
the 31st.
It was something like 800 plus people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Signed up.
But so it's like at about 3.4 times the traffic, we got 3 times the sales. That's about, that's what you hope for, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, 1-to-1 tracking improvement. Dobo comes back and says, "Did you hear about Netflix being $20 billion in debt?" I did, and people are
20
freaking out.
what?
$20 billion in debt
How does that happen?
because they're funding crazy amounts of content.
Who's lending Netflix $20 billion?
It's the stock market and other. There's. I mean, it's like.
Holy shit.
Look, man, don't get too hard. The facts are correct. Like, you might have a lot of questions, but like the fact is, like, it seems like it's a legitimate thing. Here's the thing,
yeah,
though.
I'm not questioning that
Okay.
it's true. I'm questioning who the hell is giving them that much
But they
money.
have like 120 million subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. Because the same article had, and they're like the minimum plan you can get is $11 now. I think.
No.
I think
Is that
so.
true?
But let's go with 8.
remember
Let's go with
it
8.
used
I
to
think
be
it's
like $8,
11.
yeah.
Let's go with 8. That's almost $1 billion in revenue every month. Now, I don't know what their fearsome internet bill looks like, but
Christ, can't
making
imagine.
$1 billion, like being $20 billion in debt, is like it's not. I don't feel like it's that big a deal. Like, people don't bat an
Yeah,
eye at being
that's true.
$500,000 in house debt and only making $80,000. Like, that, no one loses their mind about that. So because you can service your debt load as long as as long as Netflix can keep growing, they can keep going into debt.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing about our national debt. As long as the American GDP keeps increasing, like, it's actually smarter. It's actually smarter
It's
for
called leverage. Yeah.
It's also smarter for corporations, banks, and governments to go into debt to fund GDP growth than it is to save it. It's unlike your household budget. And if you want to know why, you got to study a lot about economics and fiat currency. And it's not intuitive at all, but it's also something that people can grasp, and I feel like more people should. So
Yeah, I mean, so that $20 billion is money that they're using to do cool stuff with.
right, they can increase their stranglehold on because like if you look at their user base versus it's just dwarfs everyone else.
So the maximum you can get is actually $12. The minimum is $8. The standard is $10. But with the minimum, you don't get HD video.
I don't think it's guaranteed. Yeah.
It says HD available. No.
Oh,
for
really?
The $8. Yeah. That's weird, but okay, sure. If you don't want HD and you want to save $2 a month to watch shitty standard def stuff.
All right, it's time for the lightning round.
Okay.
Do you have any more tweets?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them. Oh boy. Hot topic issue. Confederate. What's your thoughts? I haven't been following this, so I have no thoughts. But whatever.
I mean, I'm not going to get my pitchforks out. I do understand why people are preemptively outraged by it, because it's not like the Double Ds have shown a special sensitivity on controversial topics. And you're talking about a series that supposedly is a satirical look at what America would be like if the Confederate Army had won. So I understand why people I mean it's art and it's free speech. Let's see what they do with it. But I understand why people have concerns.
Okay.
You know, because that's a pretty sensitive subject. Garth Gal from Placerville, California. Since we're in Game of Thrones territory, Aaron, when it became apparent that the Night's Watch was not going to continue the Mad Brew, how did you pitch the show to Jim? Considering his disdain for magic and fantasy, was it Don Draper-like sale? What would happen if Jim wasn't interested in covering the show? I'll let you take this because
specifically about Mad Men.
No, about the Night's Watch. This is about you taking over the Night's Watch. How did I pitch Game of Thrones to you? And my response is I didn't. You were watching Game of Thrones already.
Yeah.
Because its reputation had gotten to you as like a person who doesn't like fantasies type of fantasy.
Yeah, it was more about the politics and stuff.
Yeah, so you were watching in real time the whole time that I was doing you just didn't want to take time to do the podcast, to do another podcast at the same time we were doing Mad Men. Why we had full time. I was the only one crazy enough to do that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much of a pitch, honestly.
No, it seemed just natural once we lost the other co-host.
All right, your turn.
Christ. So apparently there's buzzing in our audio. Yeah, we know we can't do anything about it right now.
It seems like it's getting worse. I feel like the sound card's about to take a shit. We are going to be fixing this soon. We've already got plans and shit in our Amazon baskets to help with that.
Might be a good time to say, if you don't know about this, Lunch with Jim and Aaron is also a podcast.
Yeah.
You can go to the podcast subscription tool on the website and sign up for the feed if you're a member. Where there is no buzz. It's our good, crisp, clean audio.
After Buzz edition.
It's right.
But no, it's bullshit, and we'll get it fixed.
Murder Bear says, when will we get to hear the David Chinterview? And then he apologizes for that horrible joke. Soonish. I don't know. We release one of those whenever we don't have a special club feature on Wednesdays.
We're gonna have to start doubling up or something because we've got so many of those that are
3 in the can.
Yeah. Zool Solar 22 from Houston. Aaron, which Twin Peaks scene of Bob did you find the most terrifying? Does he make your top 5 scariest characters? I struggle with the top 5 stuff because I'll just put it this way. I went from seeing I don't understand why anybody thinks this greasy gray-haired hippie is terrifying to wow, this is really disturbing and terrifying on like a very fundamental, in your nuts kind of way. And I thought that the season finale of season 2 particularly when they get into the Black Lodge shit was really scary and effective. That's probably the scariest thing. But then I started watching this Showtime show, and the first episode of that has a lot of terrifying imagery, surprisingly, and it's a bigger budget. So stay tuned. I was surprised. I was surprised they'd make that dude that guy looks like he smokes a lot of dope and smells like sandalwood. I'm surprised they made him scary, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got another one?
Yes. Fernando Rodriguez wants to know your thoughts on Karate Kid sequel taking place 30 years later with Ralph Macchio and William Zabka for YouTube Red.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's
why not?
The Karate Kid sequels are historically bad.
They're terrible. They can't do any worse than those.
They're so goddamn bad.
Poor Hilary Swank.
Poor Hilary Swank.
She got put into a real bad movie when she was a kid.
And then they broke her neck.
Yep.
For no damn good reason. Let's see. Oh, this is good. Colin Carter, 31. I got an Audible app and listened to the first 3 of Song of Ice and Fire books. I now claim to my girlfriend and friends to be a book reader, and they harass me about listening to a book isn't the same as being a reader. What's your stance on reading versus listening? And can you please put my girlfriend Amy in her place? Whoa. Yes, please describe to me her place so I can properly put it in. I'm sure that won't get either of us in trouble. What do you think, Jim? You're the audiobook guy.
Yeah, I think listening to audiobooks is exactly the same as reading a book, honestly. The only difference being that you can more easily get distracted. But if you don't get distracted from the audio,
right, and
if you're listening and paying attention, it's exactly the same as reading a book.
Right. So that's the thing. Like, if you're background listening, you are not reading the book.
Right.
If you are listening, like when I was doing the Game of Thrones marathoning, I would read on my Kindle and then use the Whisper Sync shit. Look, it's an Audible
so
app.
You've never read the books then?
Yeah, exactly. Then in the morning when I go into my commute to work, I would listen to it on the or I'd listen when I was mowing the lawn, or I'd listen when I was doing the dishes. Like I don't think you can like fuck around on your phone and listen to it.
No, God no.
So
everybody knows that reading it on a Kindle is not the same as reading the books, though.
Yep. Do you have another tweet?
No.
BSX4312. I listen to several Game of Thrones podcasts. Recently, there's been a trend of hosts going on each other's podcast. What is the thinking behind this? It seems that you're all competing for ears, kind of like the way late night talk shows compete for viewers. Is there a large group of people that listen to multiple podcasts about the same show, and co-hosting would improve the visibility of Bald Move?
Well, yeah, you're right about that. Cross promotion is a good thing for us. It's a good thing for them. The difference between us and like late night television is a couple-fold. For one, we're not on at the same time, right? There's no schedule. Like I can't.
Right.
I don't have to choose between listening to Bald Move and listening to a Cast of Kings or something.
Right.
And I don't think people do that. I think people find multiple podcasts they like and they listen to them, regardless of whether
they might
it's
have
the
their
same
favorite.
Topic. Sure,
but,
yeah.
But we've seen like like in survey after survey has proven this out, that like the diehard fans listen to multiple podcasts on their favorite shows.
Right. And then, the ones who are going to pick and choose, that's who we're kind of getting exposure to, right? They're going to pick and choose anyway.
Right.
What you want to do is find as many of those people and expose them to your content as possible.
Right.
And, maybe they'll like David Chin and Joanna Robinson better than us, but that's fine. Like, I want people to experience the podcast they want to experience, and if that's not us, then whatever.
And like I said, I don't think that we are. I mean, I hope this isn't arrogant, but it's how I really feel. I don't think that we are the best in every category. Like, I don't think we're the funniest Game of Thrones podcast. I don't think we're the most knowledgeable about the lore.
Nope.
But I do think that we are among the best blend of like that humor and insight and seriousness and but also with maintaining a fan perspective. I think we're amongst the best at that in any show we do. So it's kind of like, if you're confident that your show's good, then go out and stretch your stuff on someone else's show,
right?
And maybe you'll get a couple of fans. Like I it doesn't occur to me to think that someone's going to go on to like someone else's podcast and listen to them and be like, well, fuck these Jim and Aaron. And if they did, then it's competition's all fair in love and war. So let us see. Alexander K wants to throw in, after listening to Rick and Morty podcast, we mentioned The Simpsons, but what about Futurama? Yeah, that's a huge miss. We should have. The Futurama definitely, like I think of the Jurassic Park episode, they definitely blended like crazy zany sci-fi action with some heart and some like real emotional truth this occasion.
Yeah, somehow I never got into that show.
It's good.
Yeah, I've seen episodes and thought it was good.
I'm the same way, dude. Like, I religiously watched when it was aired on Fox, but like the revivals that have come up, I've not seen any. Like, maybe an episode or two. So.
And yet I watch Fuller House. What the fuck?
I don't know. Unibowler wants to know if we played the Dark Souls games.
No, I haven't, but I've watched a lot of Giant Bomb playing them.
I wonder if it'd be fun for us to
watch Breaking Brad.
I want it'd be fun for us to stream that, like if we run out of the other shit, because
if they come out with a new one, I'd say maybe we should jump on it. But
right.
The old ones, might be wasting our time.
Let us see here. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'll like to talk about, why not, sexuality. A Torian from Dagobah. This might be a little X-rated, but you guys both have girlfriends. And Aaron mentioned watching porn in another podcast. I've upgraded mine to wife.
Oh, that's true.
Girlfriend 2.0. 3.0, because there was the fiance upgrade that I installed first.
Mm.
My question to you guys is this. Do you think there's any difference between getting off on girls in porn videos to getting off the random pictures of girls on your Facebook? Me and my wife have had a huge argument about this.
Oh.
She watches porn and I don't. Yeah, the Fido stereotypes. Apparently it's okay for her to get off on porn, but it's not okay for me to get off in pictures of other girls. Her argument is porn stars are like celebrities, and she would never actually meet any of them. Like girls on Facebook and other social media sites are people you might actually meet and have a chance with.
Yeah, no, I'm with
What's your
her
take?
on this. Harboring fantasies for people you know in real life who are not your significant other, I think is a very bad idea. And indulging yourself that way could probably lead to a bad outcome.
All right, I'll take the other side.
Okay.
There's nothing intrinsically, ethically, or morally wrong in what you're doing.
Right.
Um,
But it's dangerous.
I think that I think that I can understand why your wife would see that as a little bit worrying, because it is like, you know, when I'm you know, if I'm gratifying myself to porn, it's just to get the visual imagery, it's get the job done quicker, because you know,
Right.
I'm not looking to romance myself. If you're talking about like friends and not family members, but you're talking about like people, acquaintances, and people you know, I don't know. I could see, because the other thing is, if I went to random porn star X and like at the Avian show, it's like, yeah, I busted so many loads of you, they'd probably laugh and be like, well, thanks, that's what I'm here for.
Right.
If you went and told the other person that, hey, like, guys, just, you know, you looked really good in that bikini the other night, I jerked off, it'd probably creep him out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not having the
Yeah,
reaction
no,
Jim's having. I'm a little. I'm keeping an open mind here, but I see where your wife's coming from. Sure. That's the thing. Like, there is no right or wrong answers. It's more like I could not be with a person who will not allow me to masturbate. Okay, I've tried that before.
Well, you're always walking with Jesus.
Not for,
He doesn't like that.
not for me. So, and I know that there's people, and that's perfectly valid to make that demand. I feel like, you know, there's other questions about that relationship you could ask, but like, it's not an impossible ask to say, like, I don't want my partner to watch porn. It's just not something I could ever be down with. So I'm not saying you're bad or wrong. It's just something that you and your wife have to get on the same page, because it's not acceptable to like lie about what you're like. If you'd be like, okay, I see your point,
Yeah.
and then you keep doing it anyway, like that's the beginning of the end, in my opinion. So
I say give porn a shot.
why not porn? Why
Yeah.
not porn? All right, we are. I would love to say and talk about more of this stuff, but we are completely out of time. We will be back next week.
Yeah.
With a whole bevy of other content. We got another damn first run movie. It's like 3 in a row now. Annabelle Creations, and a bunch of other stuff coming out. We got just a bunch of stuff. 3. I can't think of it because my brain.
So much stuff.
My brain's liquefied, and I drank too much beer leading up to this and then during the podcast. So sorry.
All right.
Did a bad job. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.